to our next talk. So for that, we have with us Dr. Sumit Srivastav, Sir, Professor and Head in the Department of Information Technology at School of Computing and Information Technology at Manipal University. Please welcome, Sir, for the valuable talk.
Please welcome Dr. Sumit Srivastav, Sir, on the dais for delivering his thought. Give him a big round of applause.
Goes out with this or this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go. So I don't want to show you. Just fill this out. Change. Yeah. A very good afternoon. So I am a techie guy. So I am always looking at the things in terms of the perspective of computers being used out. And every time I'm interacting with the student groups and with my peers who are working with me in Manipal University, what I'm finding out is they have been stressed in terms of the burden being caused due to, first, the major thing has been told out from the morning itself, the time management. We are always sticking to this. And second thing what has been caused out is that a competition among a competition. So I've been competing with myself, I'm competing with my peers, and I'm competing with my peer departments, and I'm competing with the peer institutions, and so on. So what I'm finding out is that there is no point of interaction between, as we are talking with the management over here, that the institutions are not interacting with each other. So they are not finding out what exactly being told out in the various other universities. So what we have done out is, I was interacting with the students in terms of the placements, and I'm finding out that they have the stress levels being increased a lot when actual placement comes up. So we tried to figure out some thought process. We developed some equations, we developed some formulas, though the formulas is also for us in terms of getting out the answers. But what we used out a concept of machine learning, a concept which has been extended from data analysis to machine learning, then to deep learning for reducing the stress and managing the stress. So rather, what I can say is I cannot omit the stress. Stress is always being there in terms of what is an individual taking place. So the definition of stress has been told out with the various eminent speakers today. They have included the concept of coping up with the various aspects of threat is coming up. So for me, the students over here, the only thing that provide me a defense from the stress was a concept which we call as challenge. That has not been covered up by various speakers, that the challenge is not being floated out. They have been floated out as a stress to the students. For us, it's an occupational stress. For students, it is always being right from the class 10th, right from the class 9th, when sin theta, cos theta comes up, and the father and mother says that go for the tuitions and try to mug up the concepts of sin theta and cos theta. And as soon as the concept of the mathematics goes a burden, then we are finding out that the students who are clearing the IITs and the NITs, and the students' mathematics goes down when they enters the engineerings, when they enters the concepts of what we call as the job opportunities of the job placement markets. So while interacting with the parents, I always say this thing that the mathematics is the problem when the distance and the time formula converted to a concept of the sin theta, cos theta angles coming up in 9th and 10th. That is where the actual root cause of the mathematics being going down. And that is where the fear for having the quantitative aptitudes, the fear of having the formulas coming up in the automobiles and the mechanical engineerings that is producing a stress to an individual that I am not good at maths. So what we have done it is that in terms of the placement is we play with the students. We play with the students in terms of what we are providing them. So we try to mentor the students. There is the concept of mentors and mentees going up. We have gone in the another way saying this thing that we float a target in terms of first to the what we call as my peer colleagues, that it is not necessary that you should come up with a research paper with the very first instance of joining Manipal University. What we have done is that we have asked them to come up an idea which can reduce the stress of your own in terms of the competitions being raised. So if I just skip out these particular slides and I move out to this particular component, and when we float it out to the students, we have come up with these particular concept. We conduct the mock interviews in the way the student wants. We play with them the game of chess. We play with them a game which they actually can able to reduce the stress. We do not allow them to play the game like Blue Whale, but we ask the students to play a game like of chess, a situation where chess can be won by an equally poised, or it is in my favor, or we have to plan an interview, a complete HR interview, which has been conducted by the various industries. And remember this, what we have done is that it increased my placement from 35% to 69%. That is the only thing we have done. We have worked out on these formulas. We have worked out on the presentation skills right from the second year, saying this thing that you are not good in mathematics. Fine, we have the NPTEL lectures coming out, which are being told out by the IITians. We help you out in coming up with the formulas. We started them to work out on the projects in the very third year itself. At least you have 4 projects being coming up with you when you are in the final year, so that your CV builds up. We are not building your CV, you yourself building up your CVs. The next thing comes as an aptitude and readiness. We ask them to go up with the novels, try to participate in the competitions. We ask them to come up with an ideas, innovative ideas being presented at the various institutions. We funded them to come up with these particular ideas. We provided upper department funds to them. We have invested almost 8 lakhs with them on various aspects in terms of the aptitude and research and the technical abilities by asking them to come up for a particular test. We call this particular test as the V test. Over here, it's a V-box employable skill test where we have checked out all the aspects of an individual when we think of that they have some deficiencies with them. Always we look at the leaders to provide us the solutions for each and every aspect. But the thing is, we are not actually addressing the problems. So what we have done is, we conducted mock interviews, we have used out the AI-based games, we have used the personal talks with the faculty mentors, we have a talk with their parents also. In terms of reducing the stress, in terms, if a student is not getting placed, it is not being a burden to you. We ask them to go for an MS program or a government engineering, rather the government jobs being planned out. So the parents are doing these things. We have the post-job interviews, we have the post-panel discussions. Every day after the company placement, we have the panel discussions coming up. So that the student doesn't feel out stress ki haan main se galti ho gayi. So what we are able to achieve this, if we are not going to this particular model, so we use the concept of Veka as a tool for having the data analysis. So I'm being a man of machine learning, so I've always been looking at the concept coming up in terms of any analysis part. So I have those who have not gone to this particular aspect, they need an interventions from the various peer groups. So we have the alumni being interacting with them for providing out the solutions. We do not come into picture, we ask the alumni to come into picture and ask them to have an interaction with them. So that's why the alumni are of importance, and you yourself being an alumni to Biyani for last, let's say 4 years down the line and coming up and saying this, you have to do this for your personal and the core development. So this is how the thing goes up. So if they able to self-select them, then what we are finding out is that they have increased their competitions, as well as they started working out in the groups. That is the major issue. That they have increased the competition for themselves and they started working out in the groups. And when they are working out in the groups, what they are finding out is that the situation, the stress level goes down. Stress level goes down, and they are finding out the solutions for an individual as a person as well as for a group as a person. So these are some of the analysis which come up from using out this particular software of Veka. So we have the various analysis get plotted out. For me, the major thing was that the last particular thing is to be more aware of my stress levels. They are always known to this after the mock interviews get conducted. Yes, they known to this that 70% of says this, yeah, the stress level has been handled perfectly. If I look at the responses that are coming up, I've just shared few responses. See, the responses are coming up. The interview was fruitful, but my interview was not properly in my areas. So this was addressed because the interview panel was totally obsolete. What he was looking at, that I am a person, Bhavak, who was a person who is known to working out in the concept of, let's say, He's not good at technologies and he's working out in the various HR skill markets, but the complete techie team take care of his interview. So some of them has come up that they help me identifying my strengths accordingly. If you look at the third one, they are still confused. So we are not biased in saying this thing that we have got the better results. What we are finding out is that the students have come up with their thoughts that we are still confused, that we are not able to finding out a good solution for my problem. So these things have been handled. These things have been handled perfectly. And what we are finding out is that the stress is where you actually do not have the capability, rather you are not consuming your capabilities, your inner strength in terms of handling the situation. If I am being a peer, let's say if I am being the head of the department of a particular institution, I have to think out from day, let's say October 11, 2017, I am looking at October 11, 2019, where my actual department stands. If I'm able to achieve 60% of this, the Manipal is actually having a faith in me. Okay, he can continue for next 2 years as an head of the department. So this is where the stress management is, but only other thing that has been pointed out by the various speakers were the time management. If you're perfect with your timings, I do not touch my mobile before 8 a.m. in the morning, whatever being the calls being, but I do not touch my mobile before 8 a.m. in the morning. So if I'm able to do this, then I'm able to gear up my stress to a larger extent. So this is not being from any offenses or bibliographies coming up. This is our practical idea that we have conducted with the students, and we are fortunate enough that it goes well. And we are continuing this thing for this particular year.